Pure Flix movie review.
All right, guys. So this is a new segment that we're going to do maybe monthly.
Yeah.
And this is, part of our old intro was church, family, marriage, whatever, entertainment. Well, this is the entertainment segment, right? So we're going to do a Pure Flix movie review. Now, I subscribe to Pure Flix. So does Chuck.
I do.
By accident, I re-upped. And so
I forgot not to.
So it was, so Pure Flix, if you're not aware of what Pure Flix is, it's kind of like Netflix for Christians. And it is full of
cheesy
movies, even like TV shows. They have series. They even have documentaries.
Right. Some educational.
Yeah. So there's a number of things on there that, and we used it throughout the years, the few years we've had this. Right now they have on there The Case for Christ, and I would suggest anybody go watch that.
That's actually their movie. I still can't get over
that. I know that is their movie. So, but this month's review, and Larry came in and watched it with us, and is Running the Bases, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if we can play a clip of it or anything, but every time we play something, we get tagged and copyright. So Running the Bases, we thought we wanted to do one that we have never seen, because we could have done one. They had, like I said, the God's Not Dead, or not Courageous. They might have had Courageous, but Case for Christ. And a lot of those are really good. Yep. And we could have just been like, hey, man, we cheated. But we wanted to watch one that we had never seen before and give our thumbs up, thumbs down, or our review, and make you curious and go watch it. And because Chuck watched one, Mr. Minsky. What was it called?
I don't know the name of it. I don't remember.
And he got me curious, and I'm like, I'll watch it. And it wasn't that good. It was all right, but it wasn't that good. Okay, so Running the Bases. Let's give a basic idea. I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to spoiler. So spoiler alert on some of this stuff. But let's just tell about it a little bit. So it's a baseball story.
It is a baseball story. That's true.
A guy is a coach, and he's coaching a team. And
he wasn't a coach.
Not
at the beginning.
Well, no, but at the beginning,
the whole story tells his life from a young teenager up until adulthood, and all the difficulties that he goes through. Yeah, there's a 20-year gap.
Right. That doesn't cover his whole life, but there is a gap from when he's like in high school or going to college, and he wants to be a baseball player, but he can't. And we won't tell you why, but he just can't. And
were they twins?
Yes.
Yes, they were twins.
Yeah,
twin brother.
So then he goes 20 years into the future. He's a coach now, and he's a very successful coach. He's won like nine state championships in Alabama,
in Arkansas,
Arkansas, and in a very small 1A or something like that. But he still won championships. Yeah. So school in Texas says, hey, come on over here. We're 5A or 6A or whatever it is, big school. And we want a new coach. And so it tells the story of him becoming the coach there. And in the process, there's a superintendent, the guy that actually hired him, his son gets saved.
Right.
And he didn't like that.
No.
He doesn't believe in God.
His son's on the baseball team.
Yes. And he doesn't like that. So, he likes the son on the baseball team.
Yeah, he likes the son on the baseball. He doesn't like the fact that he got saved.
And his son is the comedy relief of the movie, which he's kind of funny. And,
he is. That's. I'll just go ahead and say it now. That's my one big takeaway from it is I really like that actor now, because that's 2 movies he's done that as a supporting actor that he's really funny.
What other movie was he in?
Life Mark.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that yet. So, okay. Do you recognize him for that? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'll be looking him up to see what else he's in.
Was he pretty good in that one?
He was good in both of them.
Oh, okay.
So, same type of character.
Okay.
He was the comic relief, and
well, he's kind of funny.
Yeah, he is.
And he only can deliver the roles that the lines that they tell him to, and but some of it was annoying to players, and they end up getting in a fight. But anyway, he gets saved, and his dad didn't like it, and so there's this conflict about doing public displays of religion,
right?
And in a public school. I guess it was a public school, and so that comes into context here, or into play, and I don't want to ruin it, but anyway, that's the story, basically.
Yep. Yeah,
right. And so I'm taking it Larry didn't like it.
No. Well, they could have done a better job on researching certain things.
Well, okay, so when you're watching a movie, so here's a problem with sports movies. So I played baseball growing up, And this is not just a Christian film. It doesn't matter.
No,
it seems like any sports movie.
Yeah.
They're just not realistic.
No, it's very hard to be realistic with sports movies.
It is. Very few have done a very good job with sports movies. It's very difficult, and some of it was just cheese.
Well, I'm not even talking about the sports aspect.
I
I'm talking
understand.
about the legal part where he got arrested.
Right. We get it.
It didn't even make sense.
No, that was not done well. That was.
I was
They
like,
got thrown in prison.
yeah, it was like
get thrown in
you
prison
should have
for
been
that.
in the county jail. You should have been released
Yeah.
right away. I mean,
it was a touching moment, but you know, but the
and
you
it
could
made
have done
it-
that in jail.
well, and it made it seem like it was like days. Yeah, the way to me anyway, that he was there for a long period of time. I'm
Yeah.
like, that doesn't even make sense.
No, but once again, when you're watching some of these movies, it's kind of Hallmark-ish. If you're familiar with Hallmark movies, you really have to suspend reality in some ways.
quite a bit.
Right, because they're trying to tell a story, but they're just like, I'm not so concerned about the legal aspect or the reality of the, it's the story. And so it reminded me a lot of Hallmark in that regard. Yeah.
Okay.
Where you have to suspend reality. Like my kids watched a Hallmark movie one time and they got on the microphone of an airport. That is not possible, but they did, so it's like, okay, whatever. You have to suspend reality.
Well, the other thing too was when he had that epiphany that he was going to be a coach.
right?
Yeah, that was.
I was like, that didn't even make sense.
Right.
No, they
He
did
looked
that.
like I said. He looked like a freshman, a new student walking up to a seasoned player and trying to give him advice.
He was a
and
little cocky.
Yeah, and then the guy was like, "Oh, thanks, coach."
Yeah.
Like, why did in reality he
Yeah.
would have said, "Who do you think you are?"
Right.
Who are
So
you?
yeah, so from a movie perspective, there was some parts of the movie that they overdeveloped.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That should have ended up on the cutting room floor.
I agree.
They weren't needed. And then there was that segment
Yeah.
where it was totally underdeveloped. They swished it down into 3 minutes, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I get
I
it.
guess
But
he's a coach now.
yeah,
Yeah,
that didn't make
it's-
sense. Why did you devote? So
I
there's
did
that
notice
piece
that.
of it.
I did notice that there were just moments, especially in the beginning, where we're just like, "What are we doing? Get to the point."
The early parts of the movie, if you do decide to watch it, and I'll give it this point, it is a good storyline.
Right.
The overall storyline is a good storyline. The end of the movie, if you watch the whole thing, you're like, okay, that wasn't too bad. It was a decent. But the beginning of the movie, it's like,
It's tough.
it is. It's like way too much time
That's where
spent
me and
on
you were
things.
both sighing, and I was like,
yeah, it was like,
are
oh
you
man, the
serious?
cheese is just like the
What are
mother.
we oh my god!
Oh, the mother character. It's like, can we just not have her in the movie?
But yeah, they dropped out the father character. It was like, well, what about him? Where was he at?
I have to remember, and I was the beginning was difficult, but I understand in movies you got to
start somewhere.
You do have to start it,
Right.
but it was like there were certain points of the movie where all of a sudden they're putting an emphasis, taking a long time on this one part, and it shouldn't. But there was some touching moments. I will say that, like when the guy gets saved, that was very touching, and like if they could have just focused on that a little bit more. He starts reading the scriptures, and you find out later that his mom was a Christian. So that part of his life was taken away, and he's curious about it.
Yeah, they did a really good job of developing the internal conflict that he was dealing with,
Right.
without just coming out and saying it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right.
They did really good on that.
Right. So there was and the person he met in jail. There was that development there. It was a good storyline, and where he gives a message and all that. And you're like,
But it didn't even need it for the movie.
no,
It wasn't
the
needed
whole
for the
thing.
movie, but it was a good
but
message.
It was.
It's like they're going for a message, but you're right. Like the actual movie part, it was unnecessary.
It was.
But it was still a good message.
It was.
And you're
It
like,
was.
okay, so he's being persecuted,
Yeah.
but he's
But-
still ministering in the prison. The prison.
But even that, he was just running the bases before every game. I'm like, that's in honor of his dead brother.
Right.
Like, well, I don't mean
Spoiler-
to be.
spoiler
He was
alert.
praying as he did it.
Yes, that was the thing. They all knew he was praying.
Well, but
and-
he wasn't praying out loud, or
Well, he was.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
that one
remember
time,
The one time.
it
The
was
one
very
time.
loud, and
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I
right.
do remember.
That's what
yeah.
grew-
But,
draw the
you didn't
attention.
even remember it, so obviously they
Yeah.
didn't do a good job of portraying
No,
that.
yeah, it's like, well, what are you arresting him for? It doesn't
right.
make any
I mean,
sense.
they had some. So it's a mixed bag here. So to cut it a little short here, overall, I know my wife liked it.
I did like it.
Right.
I felt like, yes, it definitely was cheesy. Yes, there were parts that weren't needed. Yes, maybe, since I don't know baseball or sports, that didn't bother me. The fishing thing didn't bother me
Oh, yeah,
because
we didn't talk
apparently I
about
don't know how
that.
to fish. But so some of the little details, whatever, were kind of off. But overall, I thought it was a good story.
Well-
I thought it was a good message, and I'm not done.
I had a question for you.
And I felt like the gospel was in there a lot. Like he went through a bunch of scripture, and then at the
Yes.
end, when he gives his speech, he's like, "There's a
was
Savior,
good.
Jesus
Yes.
Christ came to this earth, and He
Right.
died for you to save you." And I just thought, wow, that's not in a lot of movies. So I was
They
like,
got-
I
the
really
message they
appreciated
were trying to
that.
portray, they did a good job. They got it out, and they did it well.
Right.
Yeah.
They did do a good job putting the message
What's your
out
question
and
for?
the gospel.
Well,
Yes.
Now he's gonna feel like a heel.
how do you? Because they didn't really explain how he got out of jail. That didn't even make any
Once
sense.
again, it's a hallmark.
Well,
You
there's a lot of things that didn't make sense.
Well,
I'm
I
saying
know,
the
but-
overall message
well,
is good.
yeah, but-
And I feel like it'd be way better than just sitting and watching a movie where we can just roll on the floor laughing for 2 hours. That has no
I don't
point
know,
at
that
all.
would be- well,
So I'm like, at
Sounds
least.
like Larry would rather do that.
So I'm like, at least there was a purpose, there was a point, and I feel like
No, that's
that
the one
was
good thing. I've seen this guy, the coach. He was in Play the Flute, and he did a fairly good job. I think he overacted a number of times. Like there was one scene where he's trying to get their attention. He slams his hands
yeah.
on the table, and
That didn't make any sense
right,
either. I
like
was
he
like-
wasn't mad, but then I was like, okay, so he's overacting at times, and he comes across as very intense. But I like him. He's still fine. He did an all right job.
In both movies, he was a good lead character.
Yeah, he was fine.
He's not great, but he was a good
right.
character.
Exactly. I mean, he's for a Christian film. What do he's it's not an $80 million budget here.
So, out of 1 to 10,
1 to 10.
10 being
Now-
the best.
Now you're asking a number of folks here who have watched a lot of Pure Flix
Yeah.
films.
Yes.
So we're limiting these to Pure Flix.
Yeah.
And 1 to 10 on the scale, not outside of Pure Flix. So just 1 to 10 on the scale of a Pure Flix movie.
So on a scale of Pure Flix movie, that's an interesting scale.
Got to bring the scale
Yeah.
down.
So like the Case for Christ
That's a 15.
is on.
That would be at the 10
Okay.
level, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know what would be at a 1 level. There's a lot down there.
I'm not going to say, but I have some in mind.
Really? Like A Man Called John?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be a good
Which,
one.
by the way, PureFlix, if you're watching and you want to support the show, I'm more likely to change my. No, I'm not.
Yeah, David, you want some
David A.R. White's got a new one out. I saw that. But anyway, okay. So Larry, we'll start with you on a scale of 1 to 10. It doesn't have to be based on PureFlix.
He's only seen like 2
I know, that's why
Yeah,
you can't base
that's
it.
true. Can't do
I'd
it.
give it a 3.
A 3.
He'd give it a 3.
Okay,
he's
so
way
Wow.
outside the scope of Pure Flix.
right, yeah.
That's why I did that.
So Larry gives it a 3 out of 10. So Chuck,
standard IMDb ratings is a 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's actually pretty good from Larry, I thought, because I thought it would be like
Wow.
a 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So if I was doing
Well, just because the gospel message they gave, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
But other than that, it'd be like,
on a scale, and I'm doing a Pure Flix scale.
okay,
here,
you're doing
1
a
to
pure.
10.
Okay,
I'm struggling between a 6 and a 7.
wow, you go that high.
That's what
Yeah.
I was going to say. I was
Okay.
like 6,
Wow.
7.
so on a pure Flix scale, so on a regular scale, I was just going to say probably about a 5.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, it was all right. It was average. It was
Wow.
good. It had good aspects to it. It had some cheese. So it's
I have
like
a lot of cheese.
it was, but it wasn't like I wasted my evening. I know Larry's
I've got
over
some
there.
popcorn.
But it's only the first
And
20
king
minutes
cake.
is the real cheese.
It's really terrible the first couple of minutes, and it just I don't know. But anyway, but the message, the overall message, was fine, and a good gospel presentation. I would
Yeah,
say
it was
that. The so it was about 5, but a Pure Flix scale, I would probably agree about a 6 or 7, and because there's some Pure Flix movies in there that just really tough to watch. And we tried to pick one that would be somewhat enjoyable.
But you don't know because you watch a trailer, and
Right.
some
Yeah,
trailers are
always good.
amazing, and then the movie
trailers
is
are great.
not.
So
And the music also, I mean, I don't know, Cameron, about the whole show or whatever,
Oh, wow.
but I will say a couple songs that they pulled out, like they had to come to the altar. It was very moving.
Well,
Yeah.
there was
I
one
like,
point where the music, to me, it thought was.
didn't he make sense?
Yeah, it didn't
that was at
fit.
the beginning. Something was happening. I'm like,
Yeah.
the music is weird here.
Yeah.
But toward the end, it got a lot better. So I'm like, yeah, I know
I
what
think
you're
it was
talking
during
about.
the funeral part or the after.
Yeah,
It
something was weird. I was like,
that
something
doesn't
didn't fit.
So-
But anyway, so you hear our scales. We got a 3, a 6, 7. Well, all of us give it about a 6 or 7, so we could tell who the negative person is. In
Or the
room.
person who has high standards.
High standards. No, we won't go there. I was just going to say the movies he likes. That's the standard, right?
So if I think about it, the movie got really a whole lot better when we got to the supporting actor, the young guy that was. It improved a lot with him.
And when the adults got out of the film, it did get a little bit better.
Yeah.
And but I mean, there was even the actor was in there. Ben Stein was in there.
Yeah.
He played a bad guy. The board, whatever the board was. But the actual what was going on didn't quite make sense to me, but.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Hallmark. You let it go for the sake of the Christian film, and it's fine. But I tried to have a positive attitude, and I was, it did make me tear up a few times. And so if just by that alone, it has to get a 5 or something, because I'm like, the storyline was all right. So there you go, guys. The movie of the month. Please go watch it if you are subscribed to Pure Flix and see what you think.
So we need to say the name again because it's been a long time.
Running the Bases.
There
That's
you
good.
go.
I have to
Running the
remind. So
Bases.
Running the Bases. Go run the bases and watch it. If you don't have Pure Flix, I don't know where you
I'm
can watch
sure
it.
it's somewhere else.
Yeah.
But if you watch it, let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know what you think, and don't blame us if you don't like it.
Don't blame me. No,
Yeah, that's right. So, all right, and we'll till next month.
Larry?
That's right.
What are you
We'll figure out the movie for next month. Maybe we should tell people ahead of time so they can watch
They
it.
could watch ahead.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that
Right,
next
yeah, that's
time.
a good idea.
So, but till next month, next torture for Larry. We'll see you guys next time.